Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're gonna dive off into the top baits that I think you need to have tied on in August. And we're gonna get really detailed this month. I'm gonna show you different sizes, different variations of baits, when and where to use them. Watercolor, water conditions, sky conditions, those kinds of things. We're gonna dive off into them. And as always on this channel, we give these things away. We like to give back to you guys watching. All you gotta do is leave a comment. It's the easiest giveaway in the world. Leave a comment, be a subscriber. We go down through there randomly and we pick a winner, just as we'll do at the end of this video for last month's baits. Somebody's gonna win those today here on this video. When I think about summertime fishing, there's a lot of different ways to approach it. If you're on a reservoir out there, let's say Grand, Table Rock, Rayburn, a reservoir, a big body of reservoir. You know, you think deep, you think of water generation schedule, you know, over there on the TVA. You think a lot of things like that. And we've done videos on that. So you guys can go back through the channel and you can see lots of content on fishing offshore, deep structured summertime fishing. There's a wealth of information out there on that. I'm not going that direction today. I'm taking a different direction. You know, maybe it's because so many people have all this forward-facing sonar stuff and I'm sick of out there looking at them, and as soon as I turn my Lowrance Ghost with that active target over there, everything swims away. It may be in my head, but I feel like that stuff's happening because so many people are out there doing it. And another theme that we do a lot here on this channel, if you guys have been following it for a long time, is we try to think outside the box. That's how you win tournaments. That's how you separate yourself from the rest of the crowd, outside the box. It's just like, it's a slogan that I love, you know, just think outside the box. That's how you win. And that's what we're doing with these baits. And in particular, like, man, I went yesterday, water temperature was 91 degrees. I had water clarity like that. I had all kinds of standing timber and I'm out there scoping and active targeting in those trees. And I catch one, like in a suspended tree over 30 feet of water, on a square bill, 3, 4, 5 foot down, right off the bat, a big one, a 513. Got a picture of it over on social media. It was a big one. It was a lot of fun. So I kind of run that like for hours upon hours, and my buddy in the back of the boat, he catches a big one up on the bank. You know, I get up close, we kind of just make a circle, and it's a 5-pounder up like shallow. Still being hard-headed and still wanting to use your active target and all those kinds of things. I go back out deep. I come back shallow, and on a buzzbait, I catch 2 giants in water this deep, 90 degrees, and the light bulb clicks, because I've talked about this on the channel. There are certain times of the year, the best oxygen on a body of water when it gets hot, when it gets summertime, is up shallow. You can't overlook that, especially when you get in August, and especially if you're fishing a body of water that doesn't have a lot of water flow through it. You know, we don't get rain a lot here in Oklahoma, in Texas, in Missouri, and all those things. You know, we don't have that big generation schedule that the TVA has, the Tennessee River, you know, or really that's the only place I can think of in the country that really has that generation schedule. When you get over there to Hartwell, to the Carolinas, you know, a lot of that stuff, it's the same thing as here in Oklahoma. The best oxygen is shallow. It's just like a proven fact. There's a gauge over there at Grand that you can actually look up the oxygen content on the water, and the best water is shallow. So keep that in mind. Just because it's hot, just because it's 90 degrees out there, doesn't mean they're all deep. I promise you. You know, a thing that we need to talk about, and I'll show you guys the next time I'm out on the water, it's the easiest thing in the world to pull up on your locator to tell where the thermocline is. And I mean, that's a whole nother video. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now, but thermocline, basically, they don't live below it a lot. You know, it's where the best oxygen is always above that. So I can show you how to do that down the road. So with all that said, let's get into the baits. I kind of got off on a big, long deal in August, but it goes along right with what I'm thinking. I've got 3 baits here, and I've got variations of these 3 baits, and they're all topwaters. Man, that giant that I caught yesterday, it was bright bluebird skies on that buzzbait. There wasn't a breath of a cloud. Like, it was, who would have thought, you know? But I just remember through my career, before I ever really knew anything about bass fishing, I'd throw a topwater all day just because I like throwing it. They bite that thing this time of year up shallow because that's where they're at. That's just where they're at, and it's the best bait to present to them. Okay, so I mentioned the buzzbait yesterday. I don't have a buzzbait in this arsenal, but it's a great bait to tie on. And I'm going to say this also. Go back and check out a couple of these videos. You know, we've been having this YouTube channel now for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years. I've done these videos for a long time. I think I was one of the very first people to do the top baits for the videos per month. You know, now everybody's doing them, but go back and check out some of those others, you know, and just see what I've talked about. You know, I've done some on smallmouth fishing. I've done some on different areas, different scenarios that you might run into. But all across the country, a topwater, the month of August is a great time to throw it. I've got 3 baits. I've got a frog. I've got one of my all-time favorites, a jaywalker. And then I've got a buzzing frog, you know, and a paddling frog. So I got 2 variations of a frog. I got 3 variations of a topwater. And then I've got 2 variations of a hollow body frog. So let's go with the frog first. Okay, so with a frog, you've got the one that's got the cup in the mouth of it right here. When do you use this one over the frog that doesn't? You know, the walking frog is what I call it. So I call this one the popping frog. I call this one the walking frog. When do you use this one over this one? This one to me is when I have a heavy mat of grass. You know, a lot of the ponds, I look out there over my pond right now, you know, there's a grass mat around the edge. You got pepper grass on a lot of lakes. You got, you know, matted hydrilla, matted milfoil. Anytime I've got matted grass, I'm going to use this frog right here because it comes through it a lot better. Anytime I have matted grass like that, I'm going to add some BBs to it to add a little weight to make it depress down in that mat a little bit more to where I can cast it further. I've put a lot of BBs in it to where it don't even float if I have a really heavy scum mat. So I use this frog in those situations. I use this frog when the water's a lot clearer. So if I've got mats, I'm using it, but then if the other area is when that water's really clear, I'm working it kind of quick back and forth, I'm going to use this frog. The rest of the time, I'm using this frog. Stained water, chop on the water. This is calm. This is for a chop. It makes more disturbance. So this is an open water frog. I don't use it on mats. You know, back in bushes, under docks. It has a bigger calling power with that pop that it makes with the nose right here. Both these frogs I'm going to throw on 50-pound braid. I'm going to throw these on, I vary my rods. You know, if I'm really trying to skip it a bunch, I'm going to use a 7-1 medium heavy. If I'm making super long casts, I'm going to use a 7-3 heavy carbon light rod. The 7-1's the platinum rod. 2 great rods, high speed gear ratio reel so you can take up that slack so you can reel that frog in really quick to make the next cast. All in all, 2 great frogs. I have both of them in my arsenal. Matted vegetation, open water, dirtier colors, clear water, calm water, chop on the water, dirty water. You know, this is the frog like that. Couple things, I like to trim the legs. How long do you trim them? I just turn the frog upside down. I'm going to trim it right there, level with the mouth on both sides. Same thing with this one. I don't want those legs that long. Just trim it at that angle right there as the head. Same thing on this side, trim it just like that. That's going to make it walk a little bit easier. With the Berkeley Swamp Lord, these frogs, the hook is perfect. They got it right. It's a very, very soft frog, but a very tough frog, so you don't need to do anything to these hooks. If you're using a different variety frog, you might have to bend those hooks open just a little bit. But the main thing is braid, trim those legs, make sure you got good hooks. Hesitate. You know, a lot of times a bass is going to eat this thing. They're not spitting it out. We call it stop, drop, and pop. My buddy Chris Wells, he's got a great channel. If you ever want to follow his channel, Stop, Drop, and Pop. He is the founder of that term. So what I'm talking about there, you get that bite, you stop, you drop, and then you pop. So it's kind of a lot of fun. Me and my son say it all the time when we're out there fishing. Speaking of Chris Wells, he is the man that throws a buzzing frog a lot. So this is the next bait. When am I going to throw this? This is going to be a clear water type bait. It works in stained water. You know, my son caught a couple fish in that high school national championship on Hartwell that we weighed. That second day we had 3 that weighed almost 9 pounds. Caught one of them that we weighed on this frog right here. And it's just a frog that you can cover water. It's a frog you can skip back up under laydowns. You can skip it up underneath the docks. It just is an awesome little subtle deal. And a day like today when it's really dead calm, it just makes a little V right across the water. It's just a great bait, guys. I don't know what else to throw. You got to throw this frog come August, July, September. It's a really, really good frog. I love black. I throw watermelon red, and I throw white, but I always just start with black. You can't go wrong with black. The great thing about the Berkeley buzzing frog, the buzzing speed toad they call it, is it's not top heavy. Some of the other frogs are top heavy and they'll actually be upside down no matter how you rig them. You rig the buzzing speed toad here, rig it normal, like Put your hook right out the top. It's going to ride perfect. They've got it V'd just like a boat. It's going to come through the water really, really well. You know, an issue with some frogs is they roll over, they get upside down on you, but Berkeley really addressed that with adding some plastic, making this look like a boat. It's just a very subtle frog that rides upright coming through the water. Works really, really well. Now, I've got another one here. I've got the paddle frog. When would you throw this one? Why do I have this one and this one? Well, you can see these are very subtle. These just coming through the water. This one's like it's more of a deal when the water's a little bit dirtier or I've got more wind. You know, this deal here, you get any ripples and that kind of stuff on the water, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't have the calling power. That's what makes it so good. It's so subtle, so natural, but it's a clear, calm deal. So as it gets dirtier and it gets a little windier, that's when I go with the paddling frog. It's got a lot more to it when it's coming through the water. I use both of these frogs on the same hook. I'm going to use a 5/0 Fusion. It's an EWG style hook with a screw lock. I just screw lock the front end, bring the back right out the back. That's the hook you need to use. I don't have any. I'm out of them right now. We used them all up in that last tournament, or I'd show you some. Again, these are on braid, 40 or 50 pound braid, a 7-foot one. That same rod that I throw that frog on, if I'm skipping it, that 7-1. Platinum, medium heavy, works great. That's the rod I use. Okay, now let's move on to the topwaters. So I have 3 different topwaters here. My favorite, my all around, if I have to choose one, is a Jaywalker 120. It's got 3 hooks, got a nice little rattle to it. It's just the perfect size, day in, day out. Bone, like this is the bait. I've got 3 of them in my boat, you know, just for backups in case I bang it off a dock, hit a rock, or a fish busted on me. This bait gets the lion's share of all my work. It's just the color, the size, everything about it. I do carry that one in the 100, and I do carry a drift walker. So when do you throw these? This 100, there are times you're gonna have fish that do not commit to it. They're gonna swipe at it. If you're losing fish, if they're just not getting it good, if they're not eating it good, you go to the 100. A prime example of this, I was fortunate enough to win Red Crest up on the Mississippi River back in 2019. Had this one tied on. They weren't eating it. I went down to the 100 and it was night and day. Like I won some of those rounds, you know, going through when I was on that river, and just that much smaller in size. I know that's not a big difference there when you look at that, you know, but it's all they needed. Like they committed to this one, they ate it. It was the bait I had for it. So to answer the question, when do you throw the 100? For me, it's going to be when the bait fish is smaller, when the water's clearer, maybe it's a little calmer, maybe you're further north. Like to me, this size has always shined for me when I go north. This one is a little big. I think maybe the shad don't get as big up north. I throw this 100 when I start getting north of Missouri. Like when I'm up that direction, that's when this one shines. I'll throw it in bone, I'll throw it in black. You know, I got another one of my favorite colors out here that's got the green back, see-through bottom. It's a little harder to throw, you know, being lighter, but this one you got to have in your arsenal when you get in those situations. Okay, then last, the drift walker. You can notice it's a lot thinner, a lot smaller profile. This is when it's really calm, like super calm, clear water. When you're out there like at Hartwell, when you're out there at Table Rock, when you're at Beaver, and man, people have been fishing for them all year like they have right now, and you drop from this 120 down to a drift walker, this thing will shine. It's just a very subtle bait. Doesn't make near the commotion. It's not near as loud when you compare the two. I mean, it's a lot quieter bait, a lot subtler. So clear water, calm conditions, pressured fish, that's when the drift walker shines. You've got to have this one in the arsenal because you're going to come across a day here in August that, man, Edwin said try this one over this one, it's going to work. This one's where I start. This is dirty water, windier conditions, more active fish, bigger bait fish, but we don't have that all the time. So that's when you go to this one, calmer, cleaner water. That's when you want to go to that drift walker. So I throw this one on 30-pound braid a lot, sometimes 40, to make it a little easier to get out there and throw. I throw all 3 of these baits on a 6'9" medium action rod. Bass Pro has a couple of them that I use. They've got the Platinum, that red one is actually 6'9". Then they've got the Johnny Morse, the Signature Series Johnny Morse. It's a 6'8". You want a shorter rod that you can work, you know, holding your rod down, you know, to make that bait walk. That's a real important deal. Just make sure when you're working this bait, you move the bait with your rod, not the reel. Think about that when you're out there. You got to hold that rod down. You move the bait with your rod. You twitch it, and then you reel that slack up. Then you twitch it, and then you reel that slack up. If that bait is moving when you're reeling that reel handle, you're doing something wrong. You're actually pulling it. So always keep that in mind. Move the bait with the rod, not the reel. So, all right, that's the top 3 baits. I know it's more than 3 baits, but we're going to give them away. Somebody is going to get them. And now let's go and let's get the winner for last month. All right, we got TJ Fishing. Another awesome video. I love the fact that you use Johnny Moore's Platinum Rod and Reels. All right, TJ, thank you for sending that comment, buddy. If you will go over to my website, send me an email with your address. My wife will get those mailed out to you. Hey, and with that said, I want to invite you guys to another project that we're working on. Me, Ott, and Andy. Ott Defoe, Andy Montgomery. We have got a YouTube channel, kind of behind the scenes, a lot of shenanigans. It's called After the Cast, and it's just following us along on the journey traveling across the country. It's a fun YouTube channel, guys. You kind of see more of the personal side of everybody. Families travel with us. It's a fun channel. If you guys ever want to check it out, it's over there. Just After the Cast, search that and you'll find it. There's also some social media called Pals. If you want to follow it, they're on Instagram or Facebook, Pals After the Cast. We'll put some links right here, to where you guys can go over there and see some of that stuff. But it's some interesting content. The last one, one of the last ones, I cut Ott's hair. He lost a bet with me, and I got to put the letter E in the back of his head. So I was pretty proud of my haircut, and I was really proud of my signature I left in the back of his head. So just want to invite you guys over there to check it out if you like that kind of content. So, hey, until then, good fishing. I hope you catch a bunch. Stay cool in August, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next month.